Hello there my music lovers, I'm George from audiophile-heaven and today we are having a look at a special DAP. This is the iBasso DX240. This is a follow-up to the DX220 series. Now it comes with some upgrades and it takes a different path of upgrades from the iBasso DX300 that I reviewed recently. So let's get down with this unit. Before that, I should mention that the unboxing experience of the iBasso DX240 is pretty interesting. It comes with a silicone case and I like that. The silicone case actually looks better than the main leather case, but the leather case offers it a bit more protection and it's easier to take off, so I actually ended up using the leather case more. This is the package, it is pretty interesting. We have a little drawer of accessories here. The DX240 comes with a USB cable, a coaxial cable, and a burn-in cable, screen protectors and paperwork. This is pretty much the package. It also comes with that beautiful silicone case. I prefer taking outdoors photos because it gives us more inspiration. I believe that our trade is an art. Doing reviews is an art by itself. This is art because doing videos is an art, acting is an art, writing is an art, everything is an art. We are creating those for artistic purposes. Back to the DX240, this is a beautiful DAP. It is much more rounded than the original, and because some people have asked me, I decided to compile all of my DAPs here, like the ones I'm working on reviewing right now. So this is how a tower of DAPs looks like. As you can see, this is more than a kilogram. It is very complicated to hold and I may drop them down. Some of them cost over $1,000 and this is why I don't take photos of them next to each other every single time I do a review, because I may break them and I want to avoid that. We have Astel & Kern SA180, we have Astel & Kern CP2000T, we have iBasso DX220 and iBasso DX240. So this is how it looks right next to the original DX220. I prefer the overall holding in hand feeling of the new one, but the old one looked more resistant. It looked better made. It is more metallic, heavier. The new one is lighter. The new one is much more ergonomic. Now you click on the volume wheel rather than clicking on a button at the top. And overall, iBasso really took the plunge and made the DX240 a very, very modern DAP. To do this, they needed to get a new model for how the amp modules work, and all of the previous amp modules work except for AMP9, and a little birdie told me that they have more amp modules in the development, so don't worry, even if they release this one now, they're still going to make more amp modules. For $950 because that is probably the elephant in the room. It is a bit expensive, it is not the cheapest of DAPs, but the quality is actually better than the original. It feels better, it is better made, it has a faster CPU, it has better GPU, it has better DAC inside, and everything just sounds so good out of it. But before we go to the sound, I want to talk a bit about the software, which is very hassle-free. I hadn't had a freeze in a long while with it, I haven't had any trouble, any issues. But if there is one thing I did have with it, I made the mistake of not doing a factory reset after upgrading the firmware. And you need to do one, you really need to do one, because I managed to drain the entire battery without noticing. I did one of those factories upgrades, I did not check the battery or anything, I started using it and the battery drained. So I panicked, like every normal human would do. So what do? I disassemble it entirely, I take photos of its internals and of the disassembly process, and then I put it back together. It still doesn't work. I just wanted to disconnect the battery. I thought that the OS was stuck or something. So at the end of my powers, I decide to put it to charge. Then what do I see? The battery is at 0%. And I leave it to charge. Now it is charged, it is working. And when you upgrade the firmware, you need to do a factory reset. That is the thing. Or at least this has been in my experience. It still has the main Android mode where you can load apps, games even. It runs games flawlessly, very smooth. Or you can use the Mango mode where you don't need apps, you just need a music player with a very good resolution. It can work with Tidal, Cobuz, it can decode MQA, high resolution, DSD files. It can be used as a USB DAC but also as a Bluetooth DAC with aptX and LDAC. The signal strength is actually much better than the original DX220. The original DX220 has a thicker back, metallic build, and all of those things actually isolated from electronic interference, which was great. but the signal strength was weaker than with the DX240. The DX240 has a longer antenna which is connected to the mainboard. It goes along this edge like this, and it has one of the strongest Bluetooth and Wi-Fi signals. It can use both Wi-Fi 2.4G and 5G. We have 5G with it. I am very happy with the usage. The USB port is blazing fast. I was actually able to copy the firmware in a few seconds, where on the old DX240 it took me more than a few minutes. The new buttons look more playful, more rounded. It really doesn't look quite as professional as the original. The original looked much more professional than the new DX240 looks like, but this one looks more sleek, more ergonomic. It has a rounded back. I don't know if that is visible, but when you hold it, it feels more natural, but at the same time, it cannot sit on a desk, like it wiggles. That doesn't happen with the leather case because the leather case is quite thick and offers it a good amount of protection. Now, it originally comes with AMP1 Mark III. Mark III is the best AMP module that iBasso has, except for their AMP12 and more exotic stuff, but as a baseline amp module, it is the best. The sound is very close to DX300, but it is actually slightly better than DX300. Somehow, to my ears, it sounds more vivid, more dynamic, more detailed, and everything is just a bit better than the DX300. The overall signature can be described as very natural, but it has better bottom end and top end extension than most other DAPs. Like, you could say it is slightly U-shaped, but that doesn't really make sense because it is neutral. It just has that extra oomph in the bass, that extra punch. It really loves to punch, and that extra treble sparkle in the treble. It has such a wide soundstage, has an excellent instrument separation. Everything is just beautifully presented to it. A lot of people have been asking me this on YouTube, and I want to make this clear. You don't need to listen just to FLAC or DSD files to enjoy music with the DAP. You can listen to MP3 files, you can listen to poorly recorded files. Don't change your music tastes for those. Don't change your music tastes for using this. Use those to enjoy the music that you like. I will not change my music tastes. I will stick to my emo music, to my metalhead music, to my rock music, to Rings of Saturn, to Eminem, to whatever I listen to, because that is my music and I will not change it for anything or anyone. The music I listen to is something personal. It is something that I will enjoy through expensive stuff and through cheap stuff. I will still listen to my music in my car, and I will try to make my music sound better. You shouldn't really think that being an audiophile is a thing of respect, like you should listen only to certain music that is audiophile approved. I don't like that attitude. I don't like this gatekeeping that some audiophiles do, especially on speakers. The guys that have very expensive speakers tend to do this, like gatekeep the youngsters from listening to their music. But no, I had a friend who has probably the most expensive speaker setup in Bucharest, and he enjoyed listening to new music too. He enjoyed listening to Linkin Park as much as he enjoyed listening to classical. And that is the thing, you should enjoy everything. You shouldn't have a mental block on listening just to a certain music genre. Just enjoy your music. Be happy. This is why we are purchasing those stuffs, to be happy as ourselves. We don't purchase a DAP to be accepted by others. We purchase those to enjoy ourselves, to enjoy our lives, to enjoy our own music, to live passionately, to have this type of fun. And this is why I'm reviewing those, because they are fun to use. They are so much fun. The DX240 makes my music experience so much better than I expected. It is such a colorful and vivid presentation. It sounds live. And since I mentioned that I have 6 DAPs here, now the thing is that from all of those DAPs, the most live and the most alive is the DX240. The most referenced DAP and the flattest sounding is the DX220. Kern CP2000T is the warmest sounding and the most tube-like sounding because it has a tube inside. iBasso is also developing a module with a tube, so I keep an eye out for that. I am interested in how it will sound like. The Kern CP2000T has a tube inside. This is the most tube-like sounding, naturally. The smoothest, warmest, and most fluid sound is from the Kern A&N Ultima SA180. This one sounds the smoothest, the most fluid. The most gentle sounding is the Lotopo 6000. This one has a really gentle and refined sound, but it has less punchiness because it is more gentle than the others. And then we have the Prelude DTR1 Plus, which I'll keep this a surprise until I post the review, but I'll tell you this. You must be really desperate to be going with this when it has such few features. But the sound of it actually makes sense, actually justifies all of those sacrifices that you made for using it. But still, the experience of using the D tier one is quite complicated. It has only one headphone output, which is in the 3.5mm form. It has no USB Dac functions, and it has a proprietary USB connector. So you imagine that it is a struggle for me to recommend it at its price point as a DAP, but for its sound, it will be an interesting story to tell. Back to the DX240. This one has the most live sound. If you are a fan of live music, the DX240 is going to be your cup of tea. It sounds live, it sounds very lively, it sounds very powerful, very punchy, very vibrant. Everything just has a ton of force in it. Everything just sounds alive. You don't really think that your music is recorded. You think that I'm there, I'm right at the concert. This is how it sounds. This is how the DX240 sounds like. It reminds me a lot of the DX300, but the DX300 was a bit warmer, while this one is a bit more reference in the overall tuning. It is very quick. Everything just goes quickly through it. You can select your music. The display is actually the same display as you can see on the DX220. Still very vibrant, still very colorful, still a lot of detail and very good resolution. The battery life can hold up to 11 hours in iBasso's tests, and it lasts about 9 hours to 10 hours in my tests, because I tested it with the balanced output, I tested it with very high levels, and I tested it with high resolution or at least FLAC files. It has very good battery life, it has very good everything. It is like a mini smartphone but with an excellent sound. Speaking of smartphones, I am sure that I will not have time to edit it if I make a video about this, but this is the iBasso DC-05. This is a dongle or a portable DAC amp for smartphones. The DC-05 has a beautiful sound. It sounds so much louder, much clearer, slightly warmer, but also more resolute than my smartphone. This is made for smartphones. This one costs $50. I want to present it in a video where it will get seen by other people. So the DC-05 is excellent for a smartphone. It's like it has this live magic that iBasso goes for. iBasso tries to sound live, tries to sound athletic, tries to sound jumpy, everything that live music should be and should represent. So I totally recommend the iBasso DC-05 if you are looking for a very alive sound, and if you are looking for a much louder, much clearer, better controlled output than your smartphone. It sounds better than every smartphone I tried it with. It will beat even those LG series smartphones with good output. So the DC-05, I'll make a full written review about it, but I wanted to mention it in the video too. Back to the DX240, I will make a full written review where I will explain everything in detail. I will explain the sound in detail because I feel that reading a full written review is more rewarding for those that are really curious about the sound. I hope that this video has been enjoyable to watch. I hope you enjoy your time at audiophile-heaven. I hope you'll consider leaving a like on this video. Also, press subscribe to audiophile-heaven for more awesome content from me. I hope you have the loveliest of weeks in there, and I hope we'll see each other really, really soon. Bye bye.